And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for another episode of Shitfic Showcase. Pathos was the same as Jupiter in layout, except the board was dark blue rather than green. Dark blue, dark blue! Jack's mannequin. The first thing I noticed was that all the usual level icons had been replaced by a blue rock and some kind of orange honeycomb shape. That doesn't look a fucking thing like a honeycomb. Let me look at this picture.
A rock.
Nothing on this page looks like what you're saying it looks like. That monster looks fucking stupid. Look at that shit.
Why am I in this game?
So let me tell you about what happened when we went to the mall last Saturday.
That's what it looks like. It's fucking about you. It looks like you were about to get into a
Godzilla.
fucking pointless ass talk with this thing about your relationship.
Yeah, and it just has a long, dumbass conversation with you for 40 seconds, and by the timer runs out, and you start the level over.
And that's how my face would look the whole fucking time.
Yeah. It just kind of melts and collapses.
There was one icon that had part of the jungle icon shape, being an icon and all, but I didn't pay much thought to it. I checked the other side of the board to see the new monster. Instead of Hedora, it was Violante.
Violante.
Mogero and Violante.
Federico.
Suave. But that couldn't have been right. Godzilla vs. Violante didn't come out until 1980.
Violante.
Violante didn't come out until 1989. And this game was made 1988.
The future.
Ah! The distant future, 1 year from now. Perhaps Toho put Violante in the game to build excitement for the movie next year, but changed their minds. I tried to rationalize the game's abnormalities.
Abs.
Abs any way I could. Yeah.
It's a fucking NES cartridge with fucking six-pack.
Oh man, I better not. Yeah, NES six-pack.
Six-pack.
Every Saturday at 8 o'clock p.m.
Yep. And other six-packs.
But this would prove to be futile. Pathos Map Song was the first new song I heard in the game. Like most of the new songs, it was hard to describe. I'll try. It started out slow and suspenseful, much slower than any song in the game. But every 12 seconds or so, there would be a loud clashing sound, and the tempo changed. It's like a fucking Passenger of Shit song.
Yeah.
It was like the composer randomly played parts from 5 different songs with the same instruments.
Okay, so how about, yeah, like most of the new songs, it was hard to describe. I'll try. Ass.
Thank you. That really sums it up. I moved Godzilla over to one of the many blue rock icons that had replaced the jungle icons and started the level. The level resembled a blue mountain range with a blood-red planet in the sky. But there was something odd about the mountains. They had a quote-unquote shredded paper look to them. I thought at first maybe the glitch had affected it, but it looked far too intentional.
Is gonna look so dumb.
It just...
I'm in shit mountain place. That planet's about to fucking... This is Majora's Mask. Look at that.
Dawn of the final creepypasta. I quickly noticed something else about this new level. There were no enemies at all, not even any obstacles. I should also mention that this was where the point meter started to become glitched beyond comprehension, much like your fucking pros. But it didn't bother me much.
You know you're not a pro at pros!
I never keep up with game coins. So without having to focus on anything, I listened to the music while walking through the level unopposed. The music had a sorrowful feel to it.
Yeah, you know? Like you had described earlier.
Yeah, sorrowful. It's like surrounded by silence.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fucking design the skyline, compose the music.
Yeah. I'll link that video in the description. Everybody should watch it
Brilliant.
to know what truly terrible music sounds like.
Art.
It would have been rather pleasant had I heard it in a normal game. Oh yeah, if you're just playing Super Mario Brothers and we're listening to Surrounded by Silence, it'd be perfect.
Oh yeah.
The level went on for 3 screens, but with no obstacles around, I finished it very quickly. I tried other levels of the same type to see if any enemies appear, but there were none. There was little else to be seen in the Blue Mountains, so I tried the other level type. I started one of the orange levels, and my eyes were assaulted with a grotesque background of tumorous orange eyes. The sky, quote-unquote, was the same as the background, so 11 assumed the game was indicating that this level takes place in a cave. I assumed.
Yeah,
I assumed the game was indicating that this level takes place in a cave.
In the cave.
The produce section! Ah!
There's the tomatoes we were talking about.
Tomatosaurus Rex.
I like the way Godzilla looks too, his little sprite. I guess picture him walking around.
Why in the fuck? These fucking
Taking little baby steps.
fucking brain monsters. The only enemies here were Matango spawn.
Tango.
But as you could see, the little bastards were everywhere. The music certainly didn't help, with a mixture of screeching sounds and loud drum beats that sounded like a monster's theme in a horror film.
That also sounds like a passenger shit. So.
Or Surrounded by Silence.
Or Surrounded by Silence.
Yeah. After completing it, I tried to avoid playing through any more of these levels whenever I could. Any more of these levels whenever I could. I'm sorry, my country came out.
My country, tales of the...
This is our country. The map was short, so it was only a few minutes before I was headed toward a rematch with Godzilla and Mogera. But this time, their sprites and attack patterns were vastly different. I fought Mogera first. Mogera's replacement was a flying machine with a slight resemblance to a Pascagoula alien? Pascagoula?
Pascagoula. I like it. It sounds dumber, so let's go with that.
Alright, Pascagoula. That's probably the only time he's going to say that, too. It was a bit like fighting Mothra, only it moved with a lot more grace. Indicated by the kind of name that Pascagoula sounds like. It attacked by spinning its front tentacle like a corkscrew.
And thus it limped along gracefully.
And it still had an I-beam, except now it fired from the drill.
Pascagoula.
That looks like a fucking... like aborted fetus from an H.R. Giger painting. This lanky aberration. Oh god, the next picture.
Oh, Mother Brain? Holy shit, Mother Brain?
Look at the fucking legs on it.
I know. It's reverse kneecaps.
This lanky aberration had replaced Godzilla, and the new beast was more of a challenge. It would run and jump at a fast pace, constantly swinging its arms around, making it hard to get close. And of course it tried to pin me in the corner with as much annoying resolve as ever.
Much annoyed resolve.
I defeated it using a combination of tail whips and heat beam spamming. God almighty. I defeated them and was going to fight Titanosaurus. Or, excuse me, Tomatoes, yes. But when I started the fight, Tomatoes was nowhere to be seen! And the game simply went back to the map with the Tomatoes piece now missing. Pieces of tomato. There was no one left to fight now but Violante. So I eagerly started the battle. I was quite surprised that Violent started the fight in her rose form. She was immobile and used tentacles to keep me away from the main body, which took the most damage. I'll whoop your fucking ass before you give me to your darling wife. Sock puppets. That's what it looks like. It looks like they got two little sock puppets.
Yeah. Here, I'm Godzilla. I'm gonna kick your ass. No, you won't. I'm gonna kick your ass, Godzilla. puppet style.
As expected, she turned into her final form after taking enough damage.
Great.
The sprite looked pretty damn good for 8-bit. I'm you, but, with puppets.
Godzilla, what happened to your legs?
Even Godzilla looks fucking, like, taken aback by it.
He's
Just
shrugging.
like-
He's like, huh?
Or he just looks like his arms are, like, up like this. Like he's trying to guard himself.
Yeah, it's like, the fuck?
The battle technique was the same, except now Biolante could move. Albeit slower than any other monster. Being hit by the tentacles did more damage now, and Biolante could do an acid spit, which I managed to avoid by jumping in the screen cap. Yeah, it looks like you really fucking avoided it. Great job.
Yeah.
It's headed
You
direct.
shaded it up and you jumped up. Great job, asshole.
Genius. Not much more difficult to beat than Titanosaurus. Excuse me, tomatoes.
That was more difficult to beat than tomatoes.
I mean, tomatoes, they'll give you a fucking fight.
Yeah.
But this, thankfully, is not that much harder.
I got my ass whooped by tomatoes all the time.
Yeah. It only took 2 rounds, but when Biolante was gone, the music had stopped, and there was a new icon replacing the bass.
Did you ever, when you were growing up,
Look
did
at
you
this.
ever get fucking shoved into a locker by tomatoes?
Speaking of tomatoes, get a look at this shit.
Yeah, tomato face.
The icon wasn't there before I beat Biolante. It resembled a red tribal mask, and I had a feeling of dread when I saw it. But since it replaced the base, it must be the only way to exit Pathos. I moved Godzilla to the square and started the level. Run. Okay, Walter White. Run.
Godzilla, I'm running.
It was a hellish-looking place with no sky and a flickering fire in the background. The fire looked far more advanced than anything I've seen on the NES. There was quote-unquote music in the form of a slow, steady drum sound resembling a heartbeat. At the text on the top of the screen, or all the text on the top of the screen and the life bar were gone. In their place was a single bit of text in the middle of the screen that said, "Run." My feeling of dread had intensified. I cautiously walked through the level, but like the Blue Mountains, there were no enemies. I paced around for a minute before thinking, run? From what? The first time it hit me, I didn't even see it. I heard a noise outside my room and turned back to see if something fell. And when I looked back, Godzilla was dying. I figured it must have just been a glitch, but I wasn't going to play through the game without Godzilla, so I restarted the game and went to the password screen. I ever mentioned how creepy the password screen music is? If you've played the game, you know what I mean. It doesn't at all fit the mood of the game. It's more like something from a horror game. Maybe they made it like that so kids wouldn't cheat. Or maybe you are a kid. I was quite annoyed at this point because I thought I was going to have to fight all the monsters again. But that didn't happen. The game started me off right where I was before I started the red face level. So I tried again, making sure to pay attention this time. That's when I heard a low bellowing sound, and then I saw it. This thing. Do you know that feeling your body has when you feel like you're in extreme danger? You start to recoil and tense up as the adrenaline flows through your veins, and your nerves start to feel very cold.
You know how you feel that way from playing a fucking NES game?
Well, that's how I felt the first time I faced off with tomatoes.
No! The
That's-
PTSD. Man.
That's the feeling I had when I took this screen cap.
The PTSD, the
Tomato stress disorder. Produce tomato stress disorder. That's the feeling I had when I took this screen cap. I'm sad I'm in this game.
Those little fucking T-Rex arms.
I'm gonna get you. Go, you better run away.
It looks like a fucking retarded fish spider. It's like that Mr. fucking Garrison thing from South Park. Retarded fish frogs. That's how he described evolution. In his classroom, there's a bunch of retarded fish frogs came out of the sea. That's what it looks like. With spider legs. Oh, that's terrifying, dude. I haven't seen all the Godzilla movies, but I'm pretty damn sure this was never in any of them. It had to be something the creators made up. But what kind of sick fuck would put this in a children's game? I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I'd have been scared of that when I was a kid, but then again, usually, fucking spider fish dragons don't have that kind of effect on me.
And I've seen plenty of spider fish dragons.
It looks even dumber here.
I squirted lemon juice in my eyes. Get me a towel, Godzilla, help! Oh dear, George! George!
That's the voice we're giving that thing.
Yeah.
George, help!
Or, no, but it looks like the fucking... You know what the fuck that looks like?
What?
I remember chocolate. Sweet, sweet chocolate. I remember when they first invented Godzilla.
You are pretty old. That was like the fucking 50s or something. Oh, it just gets better. By sheer dumb luck, or perhaps the adrenaline boost, I managed to run fast enough to get away from it. It ran very fast, so much so that if you saw it, you were almost certainly going to die. And when I say die, I mean your monster gets killed instantly if the creature touches. Oh, thank you. That's what you meant by die.
Okay.
Yeah, when I say die, I mean it kills you.
Wait, I'm not referring to a singular dice.
Yes. Once I had gone back to the map, I was so afraid that I was extremely tempted to just shut the game off and try to pretend this never happened. I couldn't believe what I had just seen. It couldn't have been real. You know,
Really?
You're pumping your own self up a little bit, buddy. You designed the sprite. It's really not that scary. It's really not.
It's really not.
Like, no matter how much you try to describe it as scary, I'm not scared of that thing. And even if I wanted to continue, I still had to get Mothra through this chase level. But as I stayed inactive on the map screen for a few minutes, my fear was replaced by burning curiosity. What the hell had just happened? What was the rest of the game like? I only had to beat this level with Mothra, and then it was on to the next world. But when I moved Mothra to the red face, the game registered it as me beating the level. I was quite relieved. I tried to prepare myself for the next world. Transylvania.
Paris Trance.